Am I the a-hole for refusing to help my sister with childcare after her son bullied mine? I, 28 female, have a 4-year-old son, Max, with my husband, Tom, 29 male. Max was born with cerebral palsy and requires certain accommodations. His main two are crutches for walking and his AAC device. An AAC is an iPad/tablet-like device that lets him tap pictures or icons to communicate. Just because he can't physically form words doesn't mean he doesn't have meaningful thoughts. He communicates just like any other 4-year-old and loves talking about typical kid stuff. My sister, 30 female, has 2 kids, James 10 male and Lucy 6 female. Jane is a single parent and works longer hours than Tom and I. To help her out, James and Lucy take the bus to our house every day. We feed them dinner, ensure they do their homework, and take care of them until Jane picks them up between 7 to 8 p.m. On Wednesday night, the kids were playing as usual when we noticed James start mimicking the way Max walks and talks. He exaggeratedly walked with a limp and made strange sounds, clearly imitating Max. Tom immediately told him to stop. However, James kept doing it, and Lucy laughed along. Max became visibly upset. Tom called them both out of the family room and scolded them firmly but without yelling. James got very quiet and sat at the table until Jane arrived to pick them up. The next day, Thursday, James did it again. When I asked him why, he said, "My mom told me it's okay." I was furious. I told him to sit at a table for the rest of the evening. When Jane came to pick them up, Tom and I took her aside to talk. She said she didn't see what the big deal was and claimed James was just joking. I told her ableism is never funny and that if her child couldn't behave appropriately, he wouldn't be welcome anymore. Jane responded by saying I was being overprotective and that Max would have to learn to deal with people being mean to him because it's inevitable. I told her my 4-year-old deserved to feel safe in his own home and I wouldn't tolerate this behavior. Jane got upset, took her kids, and left. The next morning, I called the school and told them not to send James and Lucy to my house on a bus anymore. The school has an after-school program that runs until 7 p.m., but it costs money. When Jane came to my house that evening to pick up the kids, I informed her they were at the school program. She panicked and rushed to get them. This morning, I woke up to a barrage of angry texts from Jane, accusing me of being cruel and unreasonable. She was especially upset when I reminded her she'd now have to pay for childcare. When Jane realized the financial impact, she shifted her tone and tried apologizing, claiming she'd talk to James about his behavior. I told her it was too late. The damage was done, and her kids were no longer welcome at my house. Jane argued that she couldn't afford the childcare costs and might have to find another job. I told her that wasn't my problem. Now she's even angrier, and I'm questioning whether I handled the situation correctly. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your sister and nephew both faced the natural consequences of their actions. You have a duty to protect your child. On the first night, you corrected the behavior with the children. Then your sister undermined your authority in your own home. She has become too comfortable with you essentially co-parenting her children and feels entitled to co-parent your child. She doesn't feel bad that your son was hurt by her son's actions. Instead, she's encouraging her son to act out because she disagrees with your parenting style. When you addressed the issue, she refused to acknowledge her responsibility. You told her to seek alternative childcare. Yes, the time frame was short, but child care programs can terminate care just as quickly in cases of misbehavior or other issues. She isn't remorseful for hurting her nephew. She's only upset that her actions had consequences. Exactly. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Imagine thinking that it's okay to mock the disabled son of the person who is co-parenting your children and saving you thousands of dollars a year without taking a cent. The shocked Pikachu face when they stop helping you. Shaking my head. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. You're 100% right. Ensuring Max feels safe in his own home is the priority. Your sister has no genuine remorse for her actions or her children's. She only changed her tune when she realized it was going to cost her money. Family should be a safe place, and she has proven she doesn't deserve to be a part of Max's life. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to contribute money to my mom's family Christmas gift after finding out it's going to my brother? I, 25 female, have 2 siblings. My older brother Alex, 28 male, and my younger sister Lily, 19 female. My mom recently came up with an idea for a family Christmas gift that we would all chip in for. She told us it was something that would benefit everyone, but wouldn't reveal what it was. She just said she needed $500 from each of us by the end of the month. Now, $500 is a lot of money for me. I just started a new job, and I'm still trying to save up after struggling financially for a while. I told my mom I needed more details before I could commit, but she kept brushing me off, saying it was a surprise. A few days ago, I found out the truth. Lily let it slip that the family gift is actually a down payment on a new car for Alex. Apparently, his car broke down recently and he needs a replacement. My mom thought it would be a good idea for all of us to pitch in and get him something nice for Christmas. I was furious. Alex is 28, has a stable job, and makes way more money than I do. On top of that, my mom never asked any of us if we were okay with this. She just assumed we'd all go along with it. When I confronted her, she said it's only fair since Alex does a lot for the family and deserves it. I told her I wasn't contributing and that it was ridiculous to call this a family gift when it's only for Alex. She got upset and said I was being selfish and ungrateful. Alex chimed in saying I could afford it if I really cared and accused me of being jealous of him. Even Lily sided with them, saying it's not a big deal and that I'm ruining Christmas by making it an issue. Now my whole family is mad at me. They're calling me cheap and saying I'm being petty over something that's supposed to be a nice gesture. I feel bad for causing tension, but I also feel like I'm being taken advantage of. Not the a-hole. Your mom's bringing a $500 family gift on you without being upfront is really shady, especially since it's just for Alex's car. It's not your job to fund your own brother's problems, especially when he's better off financially than you. You have every right to say no since it's your money, and $500 is no joke. Them guilt-tripping you and calling you selfish isn't fair. You're not ruining Christmas. They're the ones making it so one-sided. Stand your ground. The fact that Alex piled on with such a condescending comment makes it clear this isn't a gift but a demand. He should be ashamed. Alex is not ashamed. He's the only son, no doubt the golden child. He's entitled beyond measure because that's how he was raised. I bet if Opie thought back to her childhood, she'd see plenty of times when Alex was favored. Mom knows Alex is better off financially than Opie. Yet, she still made this sneaky, underhanded, and unfair demand. That's why she was so evasive when questioned. If I were Opie, I'd seriously consider going no contact at this point. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad and his wife I won't take responsibility for my disabled stepsister's care in the future? My parents are divorced, and I, 17 male, mostly live with my mom. 5 years ago, my dad got married to Rebecca, and Rebecca and her daughter, Yasmin, moved in with my dad. Yasmin is 7 now and severely disabled. She can't talk or do things for herself. I don't know much about her condition overall because I never spent much time with Rebecca or Yasmin. However, I've learned some things over the past few years. I know Rebecca has a fund set aside for Yasmin's future care, and my dad has been paying into it. He's invested more into her future than he ever did into mine, which is a sore point for me, but I understand she needs it more. Yasmin's dad doesn't do anything for her, so my dad took on the role of ensuring she'd be cared for. The issue is that my dad and Rebecca are worried about what will happen to Yasmin when they die. If something happened to them tomorrow, the money is there for her care. But Yasmin's father doesn't care about her, and there's no other family to step in. This came up the other day when my dad asked me to spend the day with him. I agreed, and he invited me to his house for dinner. However, dinner didn't happen because they sat me down to ask if I would look after Yasmin and be a big brother to her when they're gone. They wanted me to take responsibility for her care, whether that meant overseeing her needs in a care home or even taking care of her myself if necessary. They told me Yasmin is my sister now, and even though we're not related by blood, she is family and needs me. I said no. I told them I wouldn't take responsibility for her. My dad told me I needed to do it for him and said he doesn't ask for much. I admit I snapped and told him he never gives me much, which he said was unfair and that I shouldn't punish Yasmin for it. He said I needed to step up and be a bigger man. Rebecca asked how I could be around her, a sweet girl, and not want to protect her. I told them I've hardly been around Yasmin, don't feel a family bond or loyalty toward her, and they couldn't bully me into it. I left because they only got angrier. My dad has since called my mom's phone looking for me a couple of times. My mom told him he had no right to speak to me the way he did, and that I don't owe him the peace of mind of caring for his stepchild after he's gone. She really stood up for me. Now, my dad and Rebecca are saying I'm a heartless monster for saying no. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Yay for your mom. Tell your dad and stepmom that you will never be your stepsister's caretaker, and they can stop trying to bully you into it. In order to build a sense of family, a parent actually has to be involved in their kid's life. Your dad didn't bother, and your stepmom didn't either. Now they're wondering why you feel no sense of obligation or connection. Not the a-hole. Do you even need to ask? Your dad and stepmom are horrible for asking this of you in the first place, let alone trying to force you into agreeing. You're 17, still a minor. Even after you turn 18, your life is just starting. Taking responsibility for a disabled person is a huge commitment, and it's unfair for them to expect you to promise something like that. Your dad and stepmom are being selfish. They should be making plans for Yasmin's care in a good institution for after they're gone. I think that's the plan, but they want me to take charge and make sure everything's good. If it's not, they want me to step in and fix it. I really don't want that job. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not letting my brother's girlfriend stay in my guest room after she made a scene at dinner? So I, 30 female, live in a nice 2-bedroom apartment in the city. One of my bedrooms is a guest room, and my family often uses it when they come to visit. I'm close with my brother Alex, 27 male, and he recently started dating a woman, Jenna, 26 female. This weekend, Alex asked if he and Jenna could stay with me while they visited the city. I said yes, of course, because I wanted to meet her, and Alex has always been respectful of my home. Things started off fine, but at dinner on the first night, Jenna made things awkward. We were eating at a nice Italian restaurant, and while we were waiting for our food, Jenna started talking about how people who rent instead of owning homes are financially irresponsible. I laughed it off at first, thinking it was a joke, but she doubled down, saying it was basically throwing money away every month. I calmly told her that I rent because I value the flexibility it gives me, especially since my job might require me to relocate in the next few years. She then said, well, maybe if you stopped spending so much money on eating out, you'd be able to afford a down payment. Alex looked mortified and told her to drop it, but she wouldn't. She went on to say that people like me are part of the reason the economy is so messed up, because we don't prioritize home ownership. I snapped back and told her she was being rude and condescending, and that my financial choices were none of her business. The rest of the dinner was tense, and when we got back to my apartment, I told Alex privately that I didn't feel comfortable having Jenna stay in my home anymore. He tried to apologize on her behalf, but I stood firm. I told him he was welcome to stay, but Jenna had to find another place. Jenna overheard and got upset, accusing me of being overly sensitive and dramatic. She said she didn't mean anything by her comments, and that I was taking things too personally. Alex ended up leaving with her, and now he's upset with me, saying I overreacted and put him in an awkward position. I feel bad for making Alex choose, but at the same time, I feel like Jenna disrespected me in my own home and doubled down when called out. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. If she didn't mean anything she said, she wouldn't have said it in the first place. She actually doubled down and blamed people like OP for the economic situation. Part of me thinks Jenna was feeling insecure or something. The way she attacked Opie was not normal. The audacity of the girl. She probably doesn't have a pot to piss in and has the nerve to lecture you on your finances. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. I think Jenna was envious of Opie's home and wanted to make Opie feel bad. Some people hate to see other people having nice things. Last story. Am I the a-hole for canceling everyone's Christmas because my mom called the cops on my husband? Usually, my husband, 30 male, and I, 27 female, host Christmas Eve at our house. It's nothing big, just my divorced parents and my 3 teenage siblings. This year, we have a newborn and skipped Thanksgiving, but I've felt comfortable hosting Christmas. Until my mom called the cops on my husband a few weeks back. One of my sisters, 19 female, called me, crying, asking me to pick up our younger sister, 17 female, because she had just gotten into a fight with my mom, and my mom slapped her. Our newborn baby was sleeping, and we wanted to get this 17-year-old ASAP. So I stayed behind while my husband went to get both my sisters. My mom and my 17-year-old sister were at the laundromat. The altercation happened at home. When my husband walked up to their car and told my sister, "Let's go," my mom freaked out, caused a scene, and started yanking on the car door, telling him to let my sister out or she'd call the cops. At this point, my husband had locked the door and kept telling my mom he wasn't letting her out, that she needed space, and that he was bringing her back to our place. My mom walked away and told him to drive off. She could send the cops to my house if she wanted. I was on the phone with him. She called the cops and it backfired. The cops sided with us and agreed that the 17-year-old should have been removed from the situation and should stay with me for a few days. This enraged my mom. For some odd reason, she hates that my sisters and I are close. She has been telling them for years to keep secrets from me and not tell me what happens in her house, though they still do. She has called family meetings with my siblings just to say they need to stop running to me to vent. She says whatever happens in her house is none of my business. She treats me like I am some random outsider and not her literal daughter, and I'm tired of it. She tends to sweep everything under the rug. She never talks about issues and just continues as if she didn't hurt anyone's feelings. She also has a tendency to pull the, "well, sorry, I am such a bad mom" card or deflect and gaslight. A lot. After she called the cops and my husband with the intention of getting him in trouble, I am not letting her just sweep this under the rug and show up for Christmas like we are one big happy family. If she cannot come to us like an adult, apologize and have a mature conversation, she is not welcome in my home. So Christmas Eve is canceled. I'm also not going to raise my daughter around people who make her parents feel like crap. I'm not allowing her to see that people who are supposed to love you can treat you however they want just because they're family. Now, backstory on my mother. I have never considered us to be close. She put me through a lot as a child, and my teen years living with her sucked. She has serious narcissistic tendencies and seriously needs therapy, but I don't even trust her to be honest with a therapist. She's the type to make everyone else the bad guy and make herself look good. There are years and years of incidents with her, but this year I've really had it. However, I've put up with her because of my siblings. So anyways, am I the a-hole for canceling everyone's Christmas? Not the a-hole for uninviting your mom, but I think you should still host Christmas for the rest of the family, as it seems like your sisters and dad didn't do anything wrong. Plus, hosting Christmas while uninviting your mom would send a much stronger message. Or maybe I'm just a petty a-hole for suggesting this. Lol. The thing is, she's the type to not let my siblings come, or she'll make their lives hell for the next week or two. My siblings would be walking on eggshells until she decided she was over it. We're thinking of inviting the kids and my dad over for breakfast and gifts on Christmas Day instead of Christmas Eve, all night. I mean, you already found a great way to deal with her. Every time she throws a tantrum, you can pick your sisters up, or they can go to your place to chill. What's your mom going to do? Call the cops? Lol, fair about picking them up. It's just dropping them back off and putting them in a situation that's full of tension. I don't love the idea of that.
Relationship advice. Update. I, 25 female, just got dumped by my 29 male boyfriend. He's now dating his best friend, 28 female, of 10 years. Original story. Sorry if this is long, but want to detail accurately. I just went through a breakup, and my ex is now with his best friend. I had always had reservations with their friendship. She was always overly flirty with him and would stake her claim on him through passive-aggressive comments. I brought it up once in a cool-like manner, and he just said that's how she is with everyone. I let it slide for about a year because I didn't want to come off as insecure. Most men don't pick up on how women can be passive-aggressive towards each other, so I figured I'd take the high road and ignore her. He also never gave me a reason to even think that he thought of her like that. However, she threw him a surprise birthday party a week before his actual birthday and did not tell me or invite me. He was confused as to why I wasn't there, and she told him that I did not like his friends and refused to attend. He called me while he was there and drunkenly expressed how sad he was about my behavior. I could hear his best friend at the back basically cackling and yelling at him to not give me any more attention, and that I was a horrible girlfriend. The next day, I tried calling him but got straight to voicemail. My texts went straight to green also, so I was sure he blocked me. Luckily, I am close friends with his sister, who coincidentally was also not invited to the surprise party. The best friend doesn't like his sister. His sister told my boyfriend everything from my point, but his best friend swears she invited me and sent me and his sister the paperless post, and it must have just been an accident/mishap. After that day, he started acting really distant towards me. I asked him if anything was going on with his best friend. He said no. He loved me and understood that the whole party thing was an accident. I tried to remain calm and told him that I don't like the idea of his friends thinking I dislike them, and even said maybe I should reach out to her and we could grab coffee. He was all for it, but she never texted me back. I made sure not to say anything negative about his best friend and ultimately told him I agree, it must have been an accident, which I didn't think at all. 2 weeks later, he's still distant during that time. He sits me down and says it's over, after 2 years. I was calm, but asked what triggered this and asked if his best friend had anything to do with the breakup. He said that yes, she did, but he promised nothing physical happened with them while we were dating, but that he had developed feelings. He said that it just happened. They've been friends for over 10 years. So why didn't they date before? He said he never thought of her romantically until a few weeks ago. Afterwards, she made it very public that she won and that I'm a loser, and thank God their friend group doesn't have to deal with my toxic behavior anymore, which I don't even care about. She's lesser than me, and it's very clear by her actions. I actually bumped into a couple of his friends at the bar a few weeks after we broke up, MF couple, and they mentioned how they and several of their other friends were bummed that we broke up because they thought I was fun and sweet and loved having me around. It definitely wasn't a conversation with nice pleasantries. I could tell they were genuine. I just don't understand how feelings change in such a short amount of time since they've been friends for 10 years. 1 week after we broke up, he's dating his best friend, and they're completely in love. I'm very hurt, but just trying to see it from another point of view since my ex won't really explain it to me or go into detail on how he all of a sudden fell in love. In my opinion, falling in love isn't so easy. You have to continually interact emotionally and romantically with another person to get there, which in my mind is a form of cheating. He was just so nice and proper during the relationship as well as during the breakup. It was completely respectful, as much as it could be. I just don't understand. How do these things happen? I have guy friends that I would never think to date, or more so speak to in a romantic sense wherein it's a possibility to fall in love. Thoughts? I genuinely do think that his feelings changed, and he wanted to explore another relationship and that he was really contemplating it for a couple of weeks before making a decision. Not sure what the antithesis was, but it obviously happened at the surprise party I wasn't invited to. I don't really want to hear the whole he's an a-hole, you're better off without him comments. We're broken up and done with, and I'm moving on. Just trying to figure out if other people have been in the same situation and how this sort of thing happens. Now for the top comments before reading the update. He cheated on you with her on that birthday party and has been avoiding you. It happened because he felt flattered by her attention. Don't think he didn't notice. He noticed and didn't care how it affected you. Now she won him. The chase is over, and she'll get sick of him. I'll give it 1.5 years max. Edit. And it'll end with her cheating on him because she likes the thrill. Probably with another taken man. So just buy yourself some popcorn and wait until his sister calls you and tells you, "Girl, you want to know something juicy?" Yeah, I agree. She's a crap steerer for a reason, and will get bored of him and move on. He's very laid back, and 8 times out of 10 wants to stay home instead of going out. I'm a home buddy as well, so that never bothered me. But it's not her style. She craves attention. I think it happens because he was open to it happening. If a friend of mine threw me a surprise party and my husband wasn't there, I wouldn't think, "Oh wow, yeah, he must really hate my friends." That a-hole. I'd call him immediately and ask his side of things. He made it clear that he trusted her more than you, and for that reason, your relationship with him wasn't going to win out. I won't bother with a-hole comments and whatever, because you know all that stuff. You're just dealing with it now. But his girlfriend is sneaky. She got her man, but look how she did it. That's not a start based on mutual respect, kindness, and appreciation. She tricked him into it. He allowed himself to want to be tricked. That's just how life happens sometimes. There's not a lot of rhyme or reason to love. The surprise party in his mind probably flipped a switch for him, and she got more aggressive in pursuing him. 2 years together is a good amount of time. But honestly, it's not the longest relationship. Things can definitely still change. You missed some good red flags in the very beginning with her behavior, honestly. You also should have been more strong in your reaction to the surprise party. I would have flipped a goddamn crap if that happened. Oh, I 100% knew that this girl was manipulative and sketchy from the beginning. I just figured, okay, I brought it up once and he was pretty nonchalant about it. Not in a secretive way, but in an indifferent way. I figured, let the girl dig her own grave. I'll be above it and non-confrontational. Didn't work out in my favor, obviously. And now for the update. So I received a text from a random number. It was my ex. I blocked his normal number. He basically outlined how he missed me and had ended things with his best friend. He asked to grab coffee and talk it out and hopefully reconcile. He said, "I didn't realize how much I'd miss you, and I've realized that you're the one for me. I'm so sorry about everything that's happened in the last month. You deserve better, but I'm hoping we can meet up and discuss and move past it." Wow. A whole 3 weeks? I'm genuinely still curious as to why he ended our 2-year relationship for this girl. I knew she was trouble, knew it wouldn't last, but didn't think it would be a measly 3 weeks. I'm fuming. He's essentially asking to get back together after sleeping with his best friend, and now he has clarity over the situation and figured out that she's not what he wanted. I still think he's the one of the nicest men I've ever met and fell victim to another girl's manipulation. But screw him. He's 31 years old. Do better. And just a PSA to anyone out there who would contemplate this type of thing: don't. Edit. I know it seems weird to say he is the nicest person ever. What I meant is, he is a good person and he massively messed up. I know he regrets it, as he should, but I wouldn't label him as a cheater or someone who played with my feelings. He got feelings for another girl, contemplated what to do, made a decision, broke up with me and proved it, then figured out it was the wrong decision. Him and I can't get back together because I will never trust him again. He made a decision to leave our relationship. It didn't work out for him with this other girl, but I can't trust that it wouldn't happen again. Simple as that. But I do think he went with his feelings and wasn't trying to deceive me or go around my back to cheat. That's all. No, we didn't get coffee. I told him to buzz off and blocked the new number. Okay, you guys caught me on the discrepancy on the ages. I was trying to switch up the ages in the title to maintain anonymity. He's 31, best friend is 30, and I'm actually 28. Keeping the title as is though. Damn. I gave it 1.5 years, but it wasn't even weeks. How embarrassing on his end. Also, translation. She was already cheating on me and entertaining other men. Edit. He's no victim. He knowingly did what he did and felt flattered by your actions and your jealousy. Good thing you didn't bet on them lasting that long. He's not a good person who massively messed up. Girl, he's a guy who was in a long-term relationship and wanted to fool around with someone who wasn't his girlfriend. Him breaking up with you was his twisted way of not cheating. He had his fun. Now he's over it and wants his girlfriend back. He thought you'd stick around for him when he got his best friend out of his system. He's not a good person. He's a prick. Good men do not do this. Good people don't treat people like this. Good people don't have such horrible best friends either. I'm sorry you went through this. Breakups are the worst, especially when they go down like this. Keep your head up. You seem cool. Keep your standards high and you'll find your guy. I'd be fuming too. He threw away a 2-year relationship for a 3-week fling with another girl, and now he wants to get back together? And no, that girl who won him looks like you're winning now. She showed her true colors, and while you lost a relationship, I'm sure she lost friendships, respect, and her best friend. Hold your head high. He lost one of the best things to ever happen to him, and now he really knows it. Plus, they'd known each other for 10 years. If he really wanted something to happen, he would have gone for it. She was just jealous that some girl was taking his attention away from her, so she decided to up her game. She'd probably been flirting with him and trying to make something happen for years. I think it's a case of he's just not that into you. Unfortunately, he was probably in a vulnerable position being drunk, then lied to about why the girlfriend wasn't attending the party. I'm sure he believed the best friend for a while. But after 3 weeks, he realized there was a reason they hadn't gotten together in the past 10 years. It's probably for the best this happened. She probably dodged a bullet in that one. He said I didn't realize how much I'd miss you, and I've realized that you're the one for me. I'm so sorry about everything that's happened in the last month. You deserve better, but I'm hoping we can meet up and discuss and move past it. OP, I'm waiting for the part where you laughed in his face and wished him well with his life. I still think he's the one of the nicest men I've ever met and fell victim to another girl's manipulation. Yes, he fell victim enough to dump you, immediately unzip his pants, and stick it into someone else before you had even had time to process what was happening. His actions are not the actions of a nice man, and quite frankly, even if he's nice, it unfortunately does not prevent him from being stupid. This guy isn't the guy you want in your life. He threw you away for a grass is greener situation, and is now trying to crawl back to you and realized it was seasoned with manure. Kick him to the curb and live your best life. Also, regarding your previous post, also take his friends. They may be the best part of the 2 years where he wasted your time. Trust me, I didn't entertain the conversation at all. I told him to buzz off and move on. No coffee, no meetup, we were done 3 weeks ago and we're done now. Moving on. Last story is titled, I, 28 female, discovered my boyfriend, 29 male, impregnated our landlord. I am sick beyond belief. I don't think I've ever felt this much pain in my life, and isolated to the point where I've had to seek advice on here. I truly never thought this would happen to me. My boyfriend, let's call him Kyle for simplicity, and I have had a really stable and loving relationship. And for context, I've lived most of my life in London, and I met him in London as well. He's American. He works in asset management and we're both fairly traditional, so I work mostly freelance. But I don't really make even 1/3 of what he makes. Which was fine, as I planned on becoming a housewife and a primary caretaker. But this year, he was offered a job in New York City, where the pay is astronomically higher than he was making in London. And my whole life is in London, all of my family and friends. But I knew that this was going to open up doors for him, and that would be able to buy a home in the future and etc. So we moved right after Christmas to a really nice flat. Did not realize how expensive rent was here, by the way. And because of COVID, he works mostly remote, but sometimes he goes in and out of the office. He had his friends, so I realized that I also needed to at least try to befriend someone. But it was incredibly difficult because when we moved, there were still restrictions, and I wasn't actively working. But when we met our landlord, I thought she was great. Quinn for simplicity. We were almost the same age, and even though we didn't have too much in common, she was incredibly welcoming that we even went to breakfast and lunch sometimes. Kyle was happy that I had befriended her. As the months went by, Quinn and I would have some drinks at my place or I'd go to hers, and one time I went with Kyle and we got to know each other on a more personal level. She told me how dating felt so much harder at her age, and that she'd always had fertility issues in her family and was afraid that she was running out of time. And I sympathized with her because I had endometriosis and I also had a similar fear. But in the last 2 months, I would only see her maybe once a week as she claimed she was spending a lot of time with her aunt and so she was more busy than usual. I understood. 2 days ago, while Kyle was at work, I went to check the concierge for a package and I saw Quinn's aunt. I said hi and was polite that we spoke because I had briefly met her before. I asked her how Quinn was doing since I hadn't seen her last weekend, and her aunt said that she was feeling a bit sick, but it was just morning sickness. I was confused, but I guess my face made her think that I was deeply concerned, and her aunt said that morning sickness is just expected in the first trimester. I was floored. Not in an angry way, I was just caught off guard because I had no idea how or when she had become pregnant. In a way, I was kind of happy for her, but I also was slightly sad that she didn't tell me as I thought I was her friend. But I was excited for her, and I sent her a message congratulating her. When my boyfriend came home that night, I revealed to him that she was pregnant and how happy I was for her. And the look on his face, I have never seen anything like that in my life. The color literally drained from his face the way you would picture it happening in a cartoon, and he was almost gaping. I was extremely confused, but he gained his composure and went to shower. I was making dinner, and my mind was racing. I couldn't really focus, but I couldn't pinpoint why. After he showered and I finished cooking, I decided to lay on the bed for a while because I was feeling horrible. My boyfriend then said he needed to get some really important bills from our mail, and he left quickly. At this point, I felt so horrible, so sick, because something felt ridiculously wrong. The entire atmosphere had shifted, and I was completely unsettled. So I waited for him to leave and I followed him. It was all such a blur that I don't even remember walking to her floor, but I saw exactly what I instinctively thought I would. I hid behind the wall. At this point, I was about to throw up. And they were arguing, and I couldn't even hear what about because at that point I showed myself before running back to our flat. Kyle came after me, asking me to wait, to hear him out, but I couldn't even breathe. I felt like I was going to vomit and choke at the same time. My throat was so constricted that I couldn't even talk. And he was rambling on about how it happened 2 months ago and it was a mistake. He never intended on hurting me and it felt terrible. He said that it didn't mean anything, that Quinn literally meant nothing to him, and it was a one-time thing. And he didn't know she was pregnant, and he was having a hard time processing that she was even pregnant in the first place. I told him to sleep on the couch, and I practically cried into my pillow all night. It's been 2 days since. I haven't left my bed, and I can't eat. It feels like it will just come up, and I haven't been able to speak to him since. He comes to the door and asks me to at least hear him out and give him a chance in that we can work things out. Quinn sent me a message that I haven't read. I've given up my entire life and moved to a foreign country, and my name is on the lease. If I break it, I can't afford to pay the rest off. And I think what's even worse is that I still love him. I hate him and love him at the same time, but I cannot believe it did this to me. Honestly, my life is over, and I do not know if I will ever recover from this. This was incredibly long, and I apologize for that, but I honestly do not know what to do next. Now for the top advice. I think your property management will let you break lease under the circumstances. I'd contact whatever company the rent money goes to and explain in as much detail as you like, but say you have to break lease because of extenuating circumstances. It'll suck, but you're going to be fine once it's over. Reach out to whoever you can for any support you can muster. Make that jerk pay for a hotel till you leave. Just do whatever you can to take care of you and get out of there. Also, Cal can choose to take on the lease only under his name. Changing names and leases in the US is easy, provided all the renting parties agree to it. Also, the ability to enforce you paying things if you leave the country is spotty at best. You may not be able to return to the US, but if you skipped the bill, the consequences like a bad credit score use a different system in the US and UK. Obviously, this would be a last resort if OP cannot get free of things and just needs to leave. More likely, Cal would still need a place to live, and it'd reflect badly on him to have any outstanding charges. So OP could probably leave without anything going on her credit report. I am going to suggest you call your parents and immediately start making preparations to move back home. The reason I say this is because at this point, there is way too much potential long-term damage to ever really come back from this. Think about it. Even if you do decide to forgive him and make this relationship work, what happens if this baby is born? That is his child. That woman is also the mother of his child. He is going to have to parent the baby or pay child support, and those two will forever be in your lives. A child that isn't yours? A woman that destroyed your relationship constantly there? That is way too much emotional trauma. I know you probably want to ask him all the typical questions those of who have been cheated on ask. Why? How could you do this? Do you love him/her, etc.? But trust me, cheaters rarely tell the whole story. And 99% of the time, even when they do, it's going to be information that is difficult to hear and will probably do more damage. Take some time to heal, reflect on your life, and start to try and develop yourself independently. You're rightfully grieving. But right now, take some time to let it all out, then start making the steps necessary to leave. You are young. You don't need to be looking towards a future or marriage with someone who has shown you who they really are.